Griff's neck of the woods. In Phoenix, Tobias Harris and the Clippers.
All-star or no, Griff?
Man, he came out hot.
Boy, their early season success, you certainly thought he was going to be. They've struggled a little bit of late, and that's probably hurt his campaign.
Strong Island native, strong to the hole. Harris had 14 in the first quarter. And the effort, we talked about this with the Clippers. We do it every night. Those are the kind of plays. Now, not exactly great effort on the Suns' part, though.
Yeah, that empty lane that he was dunking on is not what you're looking for on the defense.
There was more of a bird box than a box out. There's Harrell. He had 15. Has played great basketball, lead 20. How about Gallo from 3? It's good. How's 63 to 34? They cut it down to 24 at the break. Marcin Gortat. Again, the lane had cooties, apparently. Is it they allergic? Lane?
Listen, Gortat had a double-double tonight. They need more of that out of him on a consistent basis. But when Montrezl Harrell is going, he suffers a little bit.
Suns try and get on the break. Griff, I know you're close. I love Josh Jackson out of college. How do we get him to play better? Does he fit this team? What's going on?
For starters, you give him a point guard and make the game a little easier for him.
Yeah.
And that would be true of several of their guys.
Yeah.
Devin Booker has been a ball-dominant play creator in a James Harden mold, and giving them way more than they had any right to expect of him in that way. The game, JT, you know, is so much easier when you play with somebody that sets you up.
I'm telling you what, I played with the greatest ever, and that's Jason Kidd. Run to your spot and just wait on it. It'll come to you.
Lou Will, 21 in the game. Gallo the same. The win by 10 for the Clippers. The Suns clipped again, 9-31 to open the year. By the way, DeAndre Ayton, 3 field goal attempts.
Yeah,
the whole game.
3 field goal attempts and gave up. The Clippers scored 26 second chance points. So if you're not going to give it to me on one end, you got to make it up on the other.
Jordan Clarkson inside for the Cavs early against the Jazz. Nice things said before the game by Donovan Mitchell and others about Rodney Hood, of
trade target,
formerly of that team.
Trade target.
3-pointer. He had 12 and a half to the rim and 1.
Pay attention, good teams, Rodney Hood.
Lead 9. Donovan Mitchell, 18 and 5 in the game. He's having to see adjustments now. That cat and mouse game, Jet. What do you want to see him do better?
Well, he's going to have to understand what the defense is doing to him on a night in and night out basis. They're changing up their coverages a little bit. And if he can watch a little more film and study the game, he'll be able to take advantage of those opportunities that he was getting last year, this season.
Jazz extend the lead. Ricky Rubio back into the lineup. Circuitous route, but gets the jumper at 15, 5, and 4. Flotation device, Mitchell.
Nice.
In front of Channing Frye. And then for good measure, the 3. Too much space.
That's tough.
Lead 10, 81-71. Jay Crowder trying to put things away. Jazz have played some real good basketball lately. We talked about their schedule, Griff. Statistically, the easiest schedule the rest of the way, right?
Yeah, and this was the first game of literally the rest of the entire season and strength of schedule against. And tonight, JT, when you get to shoot a wide open shot the vast majority of the night, is this something you can build momentum from?
Definitely helps when you're playing Cleveland. You're on the road, but you definitely build momentum by seeing the ball go through the basket. And that's what they need to see. They're playing great defense. You said it, they're tops in the league in defense efficiency, but shooting, where do you get it from? Because they don't have it off their bench. They need their starters to play extended minutes and make shots.
They had the Knicks in Cleveland in the past couple of weeks, helping them realize that those shots can go down. We saw a lot of them go down, at least for Minnesota. How about Jeff Teague?
And by efficient, I mean.
Yes, efficient, yes.
Welcome back to Game Time. Here is a look at the Eastern Conference standings. We've talked Bucks Raptors, we've talked Pacers. What about the 76ers? We haven't gotten into them much, and currently fourth in the East, 16-8 since the deal that brought Jimmy Butler in the blockbuster trade to Philadelphia. Things seemed like they were going okay until today when there were reports that there was some contention between Coach Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler, a potentially disrespectful encounter that happened in front of the team in a film session. He's not happy with the way he's being used in the offense, is what the report is saying. Does this surprise you? Can you see where Jimmy Butler's coming from? And what was your reaction when you heard it, guys? Steve, we'll start with you.
You know, first of all, let's look at the 76ers. This is a team that's 2.5 games out of first place. and I don't think they played their best basketball. And also, you give them a little leeway because you got to give them a chance because of the trade. They've traded 2 guys for Jimmy Butler, and you figure not bad to be only 2.5 games out of first place. Now to hear this from Jimmy Butler coming out of camp, that's him and the coaching staff. To me is you go into an organization, no doubt about it, the first option is Joel Embiid. No doubt about it that the basketball is going to be handled by Ben Simmons, and you got a guy who's a pass first. So obviously you're the second option as far as offense. I don't understand how it could be a problem where you start talking about offense. When you pertain to Jimmy Butler, you're going to have to play off Joel Embiid, and there's nothing wrong with that. You play off great players. And if you're a guy that's a spot-up shooter, it fits perfect. If you're a guy that's a slasher, fits perfect because he's going to get double-teamed and he's a good passer. I think you're not looking at the big picture. If all this is true about Jimmy Butler, you're supposed to come there and help this team winning. You have a chance to win. I'm a little disappointed in Jimmy Butler, if this is true, that he's complaining about how his role is in offense. B. Wood.
I'm a little bit disappointed if this is true also. And then I'm also looking at it from a standpoint of Jimmy Butler is a free agent this offseason. You would think that he would be on his best behavior because in Chicago he had problems with players and coaches. In Minnesota, he had problems with players and coaches. And now this is the third stop, Philly, problems with some players and coaches. And it can't be everybody else. At some point, we're going to shine the light on you. So you would think Jimmy Butler would be on his best behavior in a contract year trying to get max money, and he's not. And if you're other teams and you're watching from the outside, you have to be scared to give Jimmy Butler this big money. Do you give this guy $200 million? Because money just makes you more of what you already are. If he's cutting up right now on his salary right now, what do you think you're going to do? What do you think he's going to do if you give him $200 million? So, I was a little shocked by this. I thought he would at least behave this season. And if this is true, because a lot of times things come out that aren't true, but if this is true, I'm a little disappointed in Jimmy Butler. I don't think he's playing his hand the right way. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue and you have to go about your business differently than you have been in the past. And that's what he needs to do. If you have a problem with the coach, you don't have to air it out in front of everybody. You can have a meeting and say, listen, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. You can take Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons out to dinner and say, hey, guys, how are we going to do these things differently? This is what I'm thinking. There's a mature way to handle adversity, and then there's the immature way. Too many times we hear about Jimmy handling adversity in an immature manner.
Brendan, for me, is you look at it and there's a lot of players. You see great players. You say, how is it going to work? And that's just our opinion, whether it works or not. But you have a Ben Simmons who just is basically a point guard who's dishing, and obviously he can score. But he's a guy who wants to facilitate. You have a J.J. Redick who's a spot-up shooter. And you have a dominant big in Joel Embiid who can do pretty much everything. It seems like it's perfect for me for you to be that guy, the second option, slashing, handling the basketball after double teams, in the break, Ben Simmons, you running with him. Whatever style they wanted to play, it looks like to me from an offensive standpoint, it fits. Now, you might not have the same type of numbers. The numbers might have to come down for our scoring, but bottom line is that you're playing with some great players, some young players that can go get better, and you're only 2.5 games out of first place in the East. I'm baffled if this is a true story.
Do you think that Jimmy realizes that Joel Embiid is the best player on that team? It doesn't sound like it.
He should.
He should, but do you think he realizes
it? Sounds like at minimum he would settle for the 2 best players are him and Joel Embiid, not Joel Embiid then him. And I don't think he wants to be the guy that gets the kick-out pass for the shot. He wants to be the one that gets to the rim and creates, but they don't have a room in there.
For me,
you mentioned JJ, but he's their only shooter.
It's not about who's the 2 best players. I think what I heard from what we were saying is obviously speculation. The offense in the role, and to me, is you're going to be the second option.
Right.
You're going to be the other guy at the end of games that he runs plays for, and we showed that in Philly. That's the part I'm having. Who's the best player? We can debate that. The first option is Joel Embiid and the best player.
There's no debate.
And there's no debate with that one. But then other than that, who's 1, 2, and 3 in this big 3? It really doesn't matter because Ben Simmons is not a guy that's looking to score like that other than to facilitate the basketball. You're the second guy as far as our offensive in that offense to be able to play off Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's happy with that. And we've seen he was challenging younger guys in Chicago. He was challenging his teammates. In Minnesota, he said those guys didn't want to win. Well, what's the problem here? Your team is winning. You have a shot to do something special
for a long time.
And if you're, like I said, if you're another team, when you bring Jimmy Butler in, he might not be the guy on the team. You might bring in 2 max guys. How will he mesh with your other players? How will he mesh with that next star that you bring him in with? Jimmy has to realize all eyes are on him right now. Everybody's looking to see what he's going to do, and he's not painting a positive picture.
And then the one thing for me is, and obviously we got the reports, I'm waiting to hear what Jimmy Butler has to say about this last little disagreement.
It can't always be everybody else. Sometimes it's got to be you.
Well, as you pointed out, Brendan, he's always challenged coaches everywhere he's been. And not just teammates, not just being vocal to the media, but challenging the coach. And I think when you're a part of a new team who has a lot of questions going on right now, I was just with the team. First you get the Markelle Fultz news that he has the thoracic outlet syndrome, that all of his shooting woes are actually because of an injury. You lose him. Then you have Ben Simmons, who he had not hit a single shot outside of 14 feet until Christmas Day when he hit that 22-footer. That was his first shot outside of 14 feet.
He hasn't hit a three-pointer since 2015.
It's really unbelievable. Then Joel Embiid speaking out about not wanting to be extended to the three-point line as much to create more space inside and wanting to play,
and then all that
role inside.
2.5 games out of first.
Right.
That's
and
what
Jimmy
I like.
Butler picks now
2.5 games
to
out of
speak
first.
up about his role. I mean, they need time to figure this all out. It's just
We
they're
got a lot of
running out of time with the halfway point coming up.
Summertime's coming as well.
Yeah, summertime's coming as well.
I don't know if they're going to figure it out. Hey, you are who you are. You can change who you are, but that's just the top layer. Man, you was who you was before you got here. The great philosopher, Jay-Z.
Well, I'm glad.
I was about to say.
Well, I'm glad we got to the Jimmy Butler news, you guys. We have lots of other games.